Was good, YouTube, Quinn Wade basketball analysis. I know I'm late on the topic, but I had to clock in those hours. Whew. Today we're going to talk about one of my favorite players you guys know, and you know what the news is because y'all read the title. It's going to be about Kawhi Leonard getting that $219 million extension. Now we going to cover the whole story as much as I can before we get to the main point, which is the money and the Popovich relationship. I honestly didn't want to make this video because I don't really care what the media say or the report is. But I know there's so many Spurs fans that have been messing with my channel for so many years that they want to know what I think anyway. So let's hop into it. Kawhi Leonard obviously helped them get to the championship in 2013. He was a defensive force. He was a guy that accepted his role. He wasn't trying to be the superstar. He wasn't trying to get the attention and the media and try to build himself up into something that he ain't. He never was claiming to be an all-star. He never was claiming to be a superstar. Even when he started getting accolades like Defensive Player of the Year in um, the Finals MVP and obviously MVP votes, he still said he's not there yet. And honestly, he still continued to improve, averaging 25 points a game on an efficient number, putting himself up there with the likes of Anthony Davis, Kevin Durant, and you still have LeBron, Chris Paul, Steph Curry. He started entering into that top five discussion. I was one of the people that said, I think that Kawhi Leonard top 10. And then the more I watched him, how efficient he was, how he can shoot the three, he can handle the ball, he can post up, he had floaters, he had all the moves. And he still was getting better defensively. And that's what made me put him in that top five because of his efficiency from the three field and from the free throw line. In the fact that he can play against anybody, any position, and on and off the ball. And he's a great rotation defender. And he can strip the ball out of your hands without even fouling you. But he also averaged one block a game, showing that if you blow past him, he can get that a hand on the ball, whether it's a tip or just putting it against the backboard. This guy is a three-time first team all defensive player. Defensive first team, one-time defensive second team. This is a guy that's consecutive two-time defensive player of the year. This guy helped you get to two finals. A lot of people talk about the finals MVP, but you got to remember he helped you get to two straight finals. Tim Duncan and them never won back-to-back championships in the Tim Duncan era, and they had the opportunity in this era of the 2010s to do it. Obviously, they lost in Game 7. Kawhi Leonard did have something to do with that, missing free throws and stuff like that. But he was able to redeem himself in 2014 and become Finals MVP against what people consider the best player in the world, LeBron James. He was able to hold the trophy at the same position and guard him very well and become the Finals MVP. Obviously, he had to deal with hand injuries and eye injuries that cut his season short. Like I told you, if you trade him, injuries is something that you get with him. He does miss games. He is human, and he deserves the salary. And that's the point we're gonna get into. When you have accolades at that magnitude, and you're a guy that can give somebody your own shot, he has the ability to create his own shot. I feel like the biggest hole in his game was his playmaking ability. He started to improve on that last year, but he ended up going down. But we got to talk about Greg Popovich, a guy that is a mastermind, been able to reinvent from, the David Robinson era to, Tim Duncan and Dave, and to going with Manu and Tony, to going with Kawhi Leonard and this new team. And they was even able to get to the Western Conference Finals last year against a 55-win Houston team and a runner-up, I believe, to MVP, James Harden. They was able to beat him. And remember, Kawhi Leonard missed games that series, and they were still able to beat and close out James Harden in the Houston Rockets. And at the end of the day, that show you how powerful of a coach Greg Popovich. I mean, none of us question it. I'm just letting you know he was still able to beat a 55-win team with their superstar healthy in a 7-game series without Kawhi Leonard. Obviously, Kawhi Leonard did come back, had a spectacular first couple quarters against the Golden State Warriors before he went down with a tragic injury. I've seen some people top 10 lists, and Kawhi Leonard, out of respect that he deserves, he put in a lot of work. I seen Steven Jackson say that if you think about the best players, Kawhi Leonard wanted to be a Hall of Famer. Kawhi Leonard wanted to be one of the greatest of all time. It was LeBron, KD, and Kawhi. And that's high praise from a teammate. And he actually talked about Tony Parker, and that show you that Steven Jackson is real. But at the same time, Kawhi Leonard was one of the people that he spoke up for, and that show you the respect that he has around the league. He's quiet, he minds his own business, but when he's on that court, he's a competitor. He's going at everybody offensively or defensively. And remember, even in that Spurs series, he was a monster on the boards. He just wanted it more. He just wanted to grab everything, block everything still, but he still scored when they needed to. He started scoring 20 points a game at one point, and none of us seen that coming. But he continued to accept his role, play his part, and when it was his opportunity, he went out there and took it and became an all-star, all-NBA first team and defensive player of the year type player. And then he even got up to the point where he was giving you 50, 40, and 90, you know, on every year. So this guy is not only dominant defensively, he's efficient and he's a team player and he's coachable. He wants to learn, he wants to listen, he wants to push himself. That's the characteristics that you want in your superstar. He's not going to make excuses. He's not going to talk to the media. He's not going to create drama. And even if you look at this Spurs situation, it's he said, she said. They saying this, they saying that, they saying this in the media. You don't hear Kawhi Leonard doing none of this. Kawhi Leonard is minding his own business, trying to get back to his elite level. And even with his teammates calling him out and saying stuff in the media, we still haven't heard anything for Kawhi Leonard. He's a professional, and he's one of the best players in the league when healthy. And that's something he's been able to prove. Not 1 year. He wasn't like a 1 year great guy. He's been able to prove that over the course of his couple years that he's been in the NBA. Remember, even when he won Defensive Player of the Year, the guy missed so many games that he didn't even get first place votes and still won. But people thought it was a fluke, and he came back and won it unanimously almost, and just won back-to-back Defensive Players of the Year as a perimeter player. You had Rudy Gobert, you had Dwight Howard, you had Paul George, you had Draymond Green, and he won back to back. LeBron James was in the league back to back at the forward position and getting three straight first teams and still getting the second team when he was coming up. So he learned from the pop. He learned from his teammates. He played his role. When they needed him most, he did show up because he was the finals MVP and he continued to win. Remember, when Kawhi Leonard was healthy, this is a 50, 60, 70 win team easily if he's healthy. This team almost won 50 games this season, and Kawhi Leonard didn't even play 20 games. Just imagine if Kawhi Leonard was there to close out games, to stop people, to have his impact felt on this game. That's how great this guy is. They was able to still almost win 50. Just imagine how many games they would have won if he was healthy. This will obviously be the first or the second best team in the NBA. Worst case scenario, third. They was the third seed all year without him. Just imagine his impact on the team offensively and defensively and his ability to be clutch and take shots and guard the best player and make it tough for him. This guy deserves $219 million easily, but he do have health risks. But you see players like John Wall and Russell Westbrook that had major injuries too. They still got maxed out. Remember, John Wall just had double knee surgery last year. Then he got the surgery again, and he still got the supermax. So when it comes to that, I don't think there's no argument. He's been with the Spurs his whole career. He took a pay cut, remember, to keep Tim Duncan and Tony Parker. And then now he has the opportunity to get an extension with a team that he won a championship, a team that he went to back-to-back finals with, a team that will be one of the best teams in the league if he's there and healthy. He has a chance to get paid, change his life, and on top of that, play with a great coach that's willing to listen, make adjustments, and get you on the right track to winning a championship. And he finds gems. He found Slow-Mo. He found DeJounte Murray. He's showing that he can give you the talent. He can build the team around you. He's willing to even go to the point where drafting good players at their position that can come in and contribute and continue to aid you in winning championships. You can't get no better spot than that. You're the man. This is your organization. They draft good. They pay players. And they're team and family oriented day one. And this is something that's been instilled to him since he's been in San Antonio. The question, though, is Kawhi Leonard going to take the Supermax and stay with the San Antonio Spurs? It do sound a little funny. It do sound a little silly, you know what I'm saying, to take, that even into consideration. A guy is offering you $219 million to be the face of the franchise. And it sounds crazy, but remember, last year, Kawhi Leonard was one of the top 3 MVP candidates. This guy is the real deal, and I don't think none of us is debating that. But at the same time, 219 million, it do sound crazy to even consider not accepting that. But hey, you got to be happy. And if you're not happy and you don't feel like the money gonna solve it, which most of the time it don't, you still be miserable. And you feel like you can't win the championship, you feel like you can't trust your teammates, and if you feel like at the end of the day I feel like I can't win a championship, or I want to go to a different, I want to experience something different. I'm not going to crucify Kawhi Leonard for that either. I'm a guy that supported David West taking a pay cut. I supported Kevin Durant taking a pay cut to stay in Golden State. Even Clay and Draymond, I gave them praise for taking the pay cut to have a chance to win a championship multiple times. That's something that every Hall of Famer and every player is trying to do, at least get a championship. And he can do that with the Spurs. And we all know that they can beat anybody in the league if they fully healthy. And they can retool on the fly. They can do it in the draft. And they can even pay the players that you need to come. Because people want to play with Kawhi. People want to be coached by Pop. Let's be real. He's in an ideal situation. But we done seen Dwight Howard get everything he want and leave and get traded out of Orlando. Then went to LA and was miserable. So it's still reality though. He can sign the max and get traded. He can sign the max and be miserable. He can just take the money and be like, hey, I got paid and don't show up. But I doubt that because he wants to be a Hall of Famer. He's on pace to do it. So let me know what you guys think. Do you think Kawhi Leonard going to be take the max, work out his differences with Greg Popovich, and have a bright future with the Spurs like they always been doing for the last 20 years? Or do you think he's not happy? He don't trust his teammates. He doesn't want to be a part of them, even if they can offer him max money. And I still think he's real for that because we done seen players be miserable, taking the money or, not being happy with the team they signed with or just taking the money and asking for a trade. All this stuff is all possible, but he's been with the Spurs all his career. He knows what Pop can do. He knows what the scouters can do. He knows that they can develop anybody because they developed him. It's going to be tough for him to lead the Spurs, especially when they offer him this type of money. But at the same time, Kawhi Leonard is his own man. He's his own brand, and he can do his own thing. I'm not going to hate him either way. But getting an asset like Kawhi Leonard can take you from a good team or a great team to a contender. We seen that last year with the Golden State series. We seen that this year that the Spurs just wasn't the same without him. And if you can make a trade or you can sign him next year, next free agency, Kawhi Leonard can make a big difference when healthy. He can take you from good to great, great to contender, and he's a guy that you want on his team. And the league is coming around to these forwards that can shoot the three, handle the ball, and defend 3-and-D. But he's an enhanced, better, significantly better version because he can create his own shot and he's efficient. And he got multiple moves, and he's continuing to get better. The guy's not even 30 years old, so he's still young and can still continue to get better, and he's pushing himself right now, I bet. But, we are going into a league where the guards and the forwards are dominating the league. The big men are starting to come back, and he has one of the best ones. I had voted LaMarcus Aldridge as an All-NBA third-team player. They still have the talent. They can make the moves. They can draft the talent. They can even get a free agent to come like LaMarcus. People love the Spurs. People respect the Spurs. And the same thing goes for Kawhi Leonard. But if he wants to go somewhere different, if he wants to try something new, I'm not going to be mad at him anyway. I'm a Celtics fan anyway, so it don't really affect me because I'm not a Spurs fan. But I am a fan of Kawhi Leonard. That's why I got to say it like that. Check out my Facebook page, analysisplayground.com. Link up in the description, comment section below. Check out my website, analysisplayground.com. Link up in the description, comment section below. And let me know, do y'all think Kawhi Leonard going to be gone by the end of this season? Or will he be re-up for a 5-year deal to continue the legacy and the dominance and the excellence of the San Antonio Spurs organization? And he got everything you want. A championship coach, the team that they can build, great GM. And you just never know with the Spurs. We've been counting them out for so many. Well, I picked them every year to win the championship almost. But people have been counting them out so long. Even this year, they fought and still made it to the playoffs and played with a lot of heart against the Golden State Warriors, even though they was outmatched. You can't get no better than San Antonio. If I had to pick, stay with San Antonio. But like I said, he got to do what's best for him. And if he do that, I'm going to support him either way.